the ever-changing weather around the world, ever-diverse terrain and roads across the world. With Kumho Tyre that has conquered all, there is no road you cannot go. Go with Kumho. Kumho Tyre.
I ain't playing weak, no, I'm playing for keeps. Can't stop me, I'm a legend. I run with the crew that's making the moves. Get out of the way, we coming through. We got this, never stopping, and we won't lose. No, we can't lose. Yeah! Are you ready? Yeah! We are the legends. We are the legends. Yeah! Are you ready? We are the legends. We are the legends.
Ladies and gentlemen, a massive night of racing here on the VA Veterans YouTube channel for Kumho Tyres VA Veterans Season 15. This is the Split 2 action out of our second of trifecta US races here on our US excursion. Last time out, we were at a Daytona road course, and then tonight we come to Watkins Glen for the Club Circuit, I should say. Here tonight, 6 degrees, 50% humidity, partly cloudy, 7 kilometers worth of breeze here tonight around this magnificent 3.8 roughly kilometer circuit here tonight. Of course, this is a race circuit. They used to be a street circuit back in the day. When it was originally built, it was actually a street circuit, and then it was turned into, the land was bought, and it was turned into a more permanent race course. It has moldings or features of both a street circuit and a permanent race circuit. I mean, it has the uphill twists and turns, a bus stop. Although tonight we're not running it, it also has a boot as well. So you can see here we're running the shorter layout of this track, the layout that is run during NASCAR street races. I mean, I still remember back to the mid-2000s of Marcus Ambrose taking his very first NASCAR win right at this very circuit. So it's going to be a massive night of racing. The second last round in the championship. It is all coming down to the wire now. This upcoming week, VIR is going to be the final round of Season 15. We will find out who will be the champion come next Sunday night during the Split 2 broadcast. So we got a massive week of racing in terms of it being the Round 9 broadcast tonight for Watkins Glen, the Round 10 race at VIR on Thursday night, and then the broadcast on Sunday to see who is the champion for Season 15 and who will be making their way up into Split 1 for next season. I mean, it'll be an absolute pleasure for those SimSpeed guys to call the action on whoever comes out of Split 2. I know I have a massive pleasure of doing it. So best of luck to everyone for the rest of the season. But tonight we focus on Watkins Glen. A big hello and thank you to everyone who is watching already and also in the chat. Will Munro, Shane Patterson, I believe that'll be John Van Reef for WKMP TV, and then Anakin Daly as well, all in the chat tonight. So it's great to have you all here. Great to have your company tonight, and great for you to take the time out to watch the Split 2 action here out at Watkins Glen. We are just going to go through the qualifying results just quickly as well. Marty Atkins in the chat too. Great to have you here, Marty. So Andrew Hoffman takes out pole position for qualifying ahead of Peter Latham and Todd Duggan. So the real major players, they're still towards the front. You see Robbie Griffiths there, P4, the current leader of the championship. It's starting up towards the front of the grid. So it's a good starting spot for him in terms of championship position, because it means he doesn't have many drivers to go through to get up to the very front. So, I mean, Hoff on pole as well. I mean, he's a bit of an outsider sometimes. He can either do really well, or he can have a bit of mechanical or even get mechanical failure, or even get caught up in someone else's dramas. So he's a bit of a wild card. He's a bit of a smoky pick if you want to be able to pick a winner here today. Other drivers in the field that are a little bit smoky in terms of choices. I mean, Damien Cross, Darren Goosey, we saw the kind of performance that they showed last time out at Daytona. Paul Hayes makes a return into the series as well, and we know the kind of pace that he has had in previous rounds. Shannon McMillan out there too, starting just ahead of his brother inside the top 10. James Boardman down in P13. Scott Weston in P12. He's been an absolute weapon at certain circuits, and he has some great pace about him on his day. So it's anyone's game in terms of who could possibly win this one, because he can go any which way or the other. There could be a lot of safety cars, there could be no safety cars. This circuit lends itself well to every single possibility that can happen. It's a one-stop race tonight, and with the right amount of safety cars, a good early pit stop could see you really benefiting from that come the final lap. So the strategy plays are going to be important. The on-track action is going to be important. And just keeping your head cool, calm, and collected throughout the race is going to be important. There are a heap of danger zones throughout this circuit. I mean, the uphill corner that we're looking at right now on screen behind the graphics is a really dangerous corner. One that you could maybe go too wide through up the hill, but you don't want to be too wide coming around the right-hander onto the straight, because it is too challenging, and it is too much of a possibility of getting into some not so nice opportunities, I think we could say. So regardless of that, we will bring up the starting grid for tonight's race. We have got the warm-up session just here. Oh, the grid doesn't actually want to show. So instead, I'll just show the results again, and I'll just run through them. So as mentioned, Andrew Hoffman will start on pole here tonight, just ahead of Peter Latham, joining him on the front row of the grid. Todd Duggan will start at a P3, just ahead of the championship leader, Robbie Griffiths, here on row 2. Mark Houghton will start at a P5 alongside Paul Hayes down there in row 3, with Darren Goosey and Damien Cross starting in behind in P7 and P8. Gary Buckland will start out tonight on the 5th row of the grid, just beside Shannon McMillan, making up the end of the top 10. His brother Matt McMillan will start just a bit behind him there in P11, with Scott Weston alongside in P12. Infinity Motorsports' James Boardman will start at a P13, just ahead of Mark Peck alongside him in P14, with Peck's teammate Todd Martin starting just in behind in P15 for Quantum Pecky's Performance Racing. Richard Barella will start tonight's race at a P16 for WKMP Simsports, just ahead of Matthew Monday from Fishy Motorsports, with Simon Farrington making up the top 18 there for Shadow Racing in P18. P19 tonight will go to Jason Chin from Fishy Motorsports. Just behind him is Lorne McKee, who makes up the top 20 there for Taipan. His teammate Marty Hansen will start at a P21, just ahead of Shadow Racing's Ed Cullen in P22, with Mark Dial in behind in P23. Glenn Colbert will start tonight's race out of P24, just ahead of Reg James in P25, with Brett Taylor from Valve Motorsport starting at a P26. Will Munro from Infinity Motorsport will start at a P27, just ahead of Braden O'Loughlin from Frog Leap Juice Racing. P29 goes to Jeremy Bush, just ahead of Marty Atkins, with Greg Favell and Bruce McLeod, our race control, in behind them. Craig Healy, Daniel Sheriff's unable to get a time in here tonight. It's whether they're actually going to be able to get on track and get racing in this one. That is going to be the telltale signs on whether they can actually get it done. So we got a couple of minutes of warm up, and then we're going to get into the nice, fast racing action that can always be offered here at Watkins Glen. So I'm incredibly excited for it. We can see the drivers are all coming out onto the circuit now, getting those tyres warmed up, practicing their race starts, just getting nice and prepared for what is to come. So hook in. We've got, I think it's 37 or 39 laps here tonight, 150 Ks of the club circuit. It's going to be a short, sharp sprint from go to slow all the way through. So we could see many a safety car. We could see many an incident. But what I think what it's going to come down to is the on-track battles that we could see throughout this race. So we wait for the drivers to sort of make their way around the field as a whole. and get ready to race. As I mentioned, practicing their race starts, practicing just some of those minor corners that they might be struggling with is what is going to be the make or break throughout this race. Great to have Anita Buckland in the chat as well. Great to have you all here. Great to have you all watching and chatting as well. It's very, very good to see you all in here. So we await the drivers to finish the warm up, about halfway through it, and then we're ready to go racing, and it will be on for old and young, from checkered flag to checkered flag, from green flag to checkered flag, I should say. So I'm just going to take a quick little breath because we could be in for something super exciting tonight. The things I've heard is that it could be incredibly exciting. And as mentioned, it is the second round of the championship. And it can saying, lol, that hasn't changed his pay from the NTE series. Well, that's all right. He can rock a new paint here tonight. Michael Quain, great to have you into the chat as well. Great to have you here. So any number of these drivers could be involved in something nice and or even destructive here tonight. Peter Latham in the chat as well. Great to have him here. So there's so many names at play, so many possibilities that could come to light in tonight's race. I hope you're all ready, because this race could be one that is game changing in terms of championship standings. Good to see Paul Hayes is on the grid nice and early here. So we wait for the drivers ahead of him. There's his teammate Todd Duggan, who will start at a P3. This championship is coming down to the wire. This is the furthest point that we made it last season. We never got to the final round last season and missed out on seeing the great crescendo, the great finale that we all wanted for Season 14, since it was so close. Season 15 is a little bit more spread out in points, but regardless, hopefully, and I am fingers crossed, that we can make it to round 10, get the final race, and have it all decided next time out at VIR, because I'd hate to see 2 seasons in a row a champion have a little asterisk next to their name because they haven't actually been able to get to the final race because of an iRacing problem or whatever. So big stakes are on the table tonight. They're on the menu tonight. I know we've mentioned had a lot of food references throughout the time since we've moved it to sort of Sunday, Monday nights for the broadcast. Anakin asking, do you think Hoff would have been in the hunt for the championship if he had luck go his way? Quite possibly. I mean, he is a former Split 1 driver, so we know he has actually got the pace when he is on his day and when he is up to scratch. I think he's just been caught out in a couple of moments that, yes, have not been his fault. A couple of others which have been. So it's all a bit of a cocktail, a mixture of reasonings as to why he's in the position that he is. But he is a very strong operator. I think his time in Split 2 will actually help him maybe gain a little bit more racecraft as well, because you need to, it's the learning curve. You go from Split 3 and then you come into Split 2. Split 2 is all about gaining the racecraft to really become a proper competitor, in this series. So, and then you go into Split 1, and that's all about high caliber racing, high caliber, like high caliber racecraft and speed. So I think Split 2 is actually really good for teaching you that racecraft and getting you prepared for Split 1. You can have the pace for Split 1, but if you don't have the racecraft to follow it up, then it can be detrimental to you. So we will find out who will benefit the most, and if Hoff could have benefited from that. I think next season, even if he doesn't pre-qualify to get into Split 1, if he stays in Split 2, I think it will actually be beneficial for him, and probably actually better off as well, because it gives him more seat time to practice that racecraft that I've just spoken about and get a little bit more speed about him. And then we can reevaluate that at the end of Season 16 to see where he's at in terms of, as a driver. So there's a couple little things in there that can change it up. But I believe we are ready to go racing. I couldn't hear all the drivers revving their engines, but we are go down towards turn 1. We'll see what can happen. If anyone makes a move, makes a mistake. As they all come through, there's been contact already on the exit of turn 1. That was Braden O'Loughlin into the wall. You see his front end completely off the car. There has already been contact made, and I think that might be... I think Mark Dial might have been involved. He was. Look at him. He's on his side. On the side of the track there. He might have changed teams recently. He's got a different team name, a different livery on the car, but he has been involved. Braden O'Loughlin, Marty Hansen, all three of them involved in the incident there on the exit of turn 1. And we've already gone off, not even a lap into it, not even 2 corners into the race. So now it will be up to the race control whether we need a safety car. I would assume we would, because he is on the side of his car. Turn the engines up. Oh, hang on. I know what the problem is. Give me a moment here and I will fix it for you. There we go. My sound thing wasn't selected on my OBS. So a couple of drivers jumping into the pits now already on lap 1. We've got Todd Duggan, Mark Houghton, Paul Hayes, Reg James, all jumping into the pits, it seems. So an early stop for them. I believe we will be getting a safety car out on track, and I believe it will be Greg Favell coming out. And he is. So we now have got our safety car out on track. Parramatta Izuzu Ute safety car out there already. So now this is the thing. You could pit on lap 6 and make it to the end, but you got to do a hell of a lot of laps on tyres if you do that. With 1 or 2 safety cars out there, if you can pit a little bit earlier and you'll make it to the end. So it'll be interesting to see the play at hand from these guys now. They've come in on lap 1. We know they've got pace. It's whether they can actually mitigate the tyres over the course of the rest of this race for 38 laps, and almost have a little bit of a hope and prayer for a second safety car to really guarantee they're actually going to make it to the end of this race. So the strategy plays are going to be very interesting to see, and to see how it all plays out. So it's going to be interesting for sure. It's going to be interesting to see. Going to be interesting to see what the strategy plays are, how it all plays out, and who we might see come out on top of this one. So I suppose the big losers out of that was obviously Braden O'Loughlin and Marty Hansen. They were involved in the incident, as well as Mark Dial. Of course, a couple of cars have already come into the pits in Paul Hayes, Mark Houghton, Reg James, and Todd Duggan. So those guys have already come in and done their scheduled stop. Being that this is only a one-stop race. So they will be hoping for another safety car to really guarantee them getting to the end. But the current lay of the land is Hoffman leads Latham, leads Griffiths, leads Cross, leads Goosey, leads Buckland, leads McMillan, leads Weston, leads Boardman. That is the top 10 so far. The biggest mover in this race, there's 2 of them. Will Munro, up to P19 already, is up 8 positions in this race. Daniel Sheriffs is up 10 positions in this race, being that he started from the back of the field, not setting a time in qualifying. So those are the 2 biggest movers. Of course, 4 of the drivers in behind them pit on their own choice because they go on their scheduled pit. Hansen and O'Loughlin were forced to pit because of the incident. Now, it's whether Dial comes back out on track or not is up to him after he's towed. So that's now going to be the question. Michael Quain saying, let's go Buck and Goose. We'll have to see how they go. They're currently running pretty well. In the top 10 together right now is Gary Buckland and Darren Goosey. We can just see them in behind there. Of course, Goosey running the red, Buckland running the green. So they are representing Old Mate and Sons quite well right now. Well within the top 10. There will be a few shakers and movers, I am sure, throughout the pit stop period and throughout this race. So, it's not all over yet. It's going to be all about who can get their strategy down pat, stay out of trouble, and make it to the end, because they will be the ones to take home the chocolates. So, that is what we're excited to see. That's what I'm excited to see. We've got a heap of racing still to come. We're only just started. We're only about 5 minutes into the race, and we've been under safety car for the majority of it. So we now await the time and place, and when the time will be, the safety car pulls away and we get ready to go racing once again. Andrew Hoffman still leads the way. He had a good start. He did. He didn't light up the rear end, kept it in first place, and has now remained there. Anakin Daly saying Hoff knows how to control the speed at Watkins Glen, and it's good to see. It's good to see it's good that you say that he actually knows how to control the speed, which is really nice. So the safety car, I believe, is now pulling away from the front of the field. So, as Anakin said, Hoffman has control of the field. He will control them. It's whether or when he wants to go, and whenever he's ready to pull the trigger and get away from him. It's also how well Peter Latham can call when the start's going to happen. Same with Robbie Griffiths in behind, the championship leader. P3 at the moment. If he can finish there, this is a really, really good, strong finish for him in terms of championship points. Because he needs to try and get as good of a finish as he can. Hoffman has gone early. He's gone midway through the final quarter. And we are getting ready to go racing here as we come on to lap 4. We'll see how they go down towards turn 1. And if we get yet another moment on our hands. We'll see them all. They're coming through the first corner and the second corner respectively. Couple liveries just reloading in. Mark Dial is now back out on track. It looks nice and tidy throughout the field. So Hansen rolling around after the big damage in behind Reg James. He'll be hoping to work together with James. We know that Reg has got some good pace about him. He'll want to work with him a little bit here to try and make their way through. But Hansen might be looking for a dive here down at the bus stop. Must have forgotten his Mikey because he didn't want to go for it there. Todd Duggan just ahead. Of course, he has taken his scheduled pit stop as well as Houghton and Hayes just ahead of him. That's whether these guys have got the natural pace. Hayes runs a little bit wide off the exit of the corner. We've got Sheriffs, as mentioned, up to P24 already for Old Mate and Sons. Atkins up 7 spots. Bush up 7 spots. Corbett's up 3. Taylor's up 6. Munro up 8. Cullen has managed to gain 4 spots in this race. Lorne McKee just ahead, just following in behind Jason Chin for Fishy Motorsports. And then Richard Barella in the top 15 at the moment. P15 for WKMP Simsports, having a strong run so far. We've got Todd Martin just ahead of him. Matty Monday, Simon Farrington, Mark Peck, and then Damien Cross makes up the back of the top 10. He's got Scott Weston just ahead of him, running the regular Type N Esports livery this week. So no GMK Logistics livery on that car. It's a little bit jarring seeing him rolling around in that Type N livery and not the all-white one. James Boardman already up 5 positions in this race into P8, so he's having a strong run already. Matt McMillan and his brother Shannon just ahead of him there for WKMP Simsports. Gary Buckland and Darren Goosey are up to P4 and 5 respectively. Doing very well so far. As mentioned, Robbie Griffiths, championship leader, up to P3. Peter Latham in P2, and then Andrew Hoffman makes up the field in P1. That is the running order from back to front at the moment. So now we just wait. We await to see what happens. We might just go back and check out Sheriffs and Hanson. These guys battling hard at the moment. As mentioned, Sheriffs has had a lot of runs so far. He's made up 9 spots in this race. He's lost 1 from Todd Duggan. Understandable. He has got some mega pace about him, so Sheriffs knows that he'll still need to pit anyway. And there was only a formality before Duggan got past him. So we'll see here if he works with Marty to just make their way up through the field. We are encroaching onto lap 7. A couple more drivers have now jumped into the pits. Weston, McKee, Munro, Atkins, Hanson, all in the pits right now. So it'll be interesting to see where those guys all come out in terms of positioning. We'll head back up the front. This is the battle for P1 right now. Hoffman leads the way. I'm sorry that his livery is a little bit mucked up on my end. It's because I still have his regular spec map in my files. It puts in the chrome spec map that he has on that regular red car. So it's just it's making his regular livery, it's making his different livery look a little bit weird. Matt Parker in the chat as well saying go Team Nova. They're trying to go for a bit of a back to front route here. They pitted on lap 1 under safety car, hoping to make it to the end, hoping for yet another safety car to really clinch it tightly for them that they won't need to pit again. Basically just for the fuel. They will have to mitigate their tyres though throughout the whole race. That's even if they took tyres on that first stop. Basically, they're going to have to do 38 or 39 laps on a set of tyres, which is going to be incredibly difficult for them, but it can be done. So the drivers now just settling in a little bit. They can pit from any point from here to get to the end, with or without a safety car. Lap 6 was the cutoff. Anytime after then, you'd make it to the end. They get about, I think it's about 20 laps worth of fuel out of a tank. At this, oh no, it wouldn't be because you wouldn't make it to the end. I think it might be 22 or 23. I might have to double check the numbers that I had from my special person who gives me all the info. I'll be come on now, lap 9. As mentioned, everyone just kind of settling in a little bit here into the race proceedings. I mean, there's still 30 odd laps to go. Yes, passing people right now might give you a bit of an advantage if you're faster than them, but if you're around about the same pace, be somewhat beneficial just to stick with them, get in the tow, save a little bit of fuel, save on your tyres for not being too aggressive, and waiting until the moment to strike comes about. Brett Taylor, Jeremy Bush, these guys are now up 10 positions in this race. Of course, it will change once people begin to go into the pits and we all start to kind of level out a little bit throughout the rest of this race. You see Hoffy here. He's not under too much pressure from Latham in behind, but he knows he's there. He's got about, I think it's about a 6-car pack that he's involved in. Top 6 are all hanging out about with each other. And then you can see Boardman and Matt McMillan in behind. Oh, there's a big slide off the last corner. That was Mark Peck, but he has gone into the pits, so maybe it was a late call for him to go in. Lost the rear end slightly off the exit. Manages to get it into the pits. Good to see that he didn't lose it and hit it into the wall. So he will be able to continue on. Hopefully he didn't really end up in major damage. I don't think it would have. Number 9 looks like he's running with a flat tyre. That'll be Gary Buckland. We'll have a look. He shouldn't be. No, he looks fine. Let's have a look here, Anakin. See if he is fuel saving. Going with the Logitech cockpit cam. See if there's a lift and coast. Yeah, there's a bit of coasting there. So he is fuel saving a little bit. Yep, short. Just not putting too much pressure on the throttle pedal. Of course, just saving that fuel. Wants to try and get as much as he can out of the stint. It'll mean that he's able to take less fuel in the stop. There's lots of fuel saving, Anakin. You are correct. I don't know if I asked you this, Anakin, when you first started getting into the chat on Vets a couple of rounds ago, but do you hate sand? He probably hates getting asked that question with that name, but regardless, I had to ask it. But yeah, Hoff is doing a mega job right now to fuel save. He's got Latham in behind. We'll see if Latham's saving as well. Nah, he's full pelt right now, so he's not in fuel save mode. So it's good that Hoff is actually able to keep the pace up with that much fuel saving. Okay, you hate sand. That's good, Anakin. It's good. Good that you hate sand. So yeah, so Latham is at full pelt right now. Hoffman is saving tremendously. Same with Griffiths. He's a little bit full pelt. He's saving into the corners a little bit though. So he's not trying to use too much fuel. But these guys are definitely in fuel save mode right now. As mentioned, they want to be able to get as much as they can out of the stints. There's only one stop tonight. It's only 150 Ks. So it's going to be about saving that fuel and knowing the right time to come in. Of course, the longer you go on a set of tyres, the worse they're going to be. The guys that pit on lap 1 is Boardman, Cross, and... Boardman's still out. Cross and Farrington. Why is it telling me they're coming into the pits when they're not? This is annoying. Regardless, forget what I was just saying. They're not coming into the pits just yet. But, you know, keeping control of your tyre wear and how much fuel you want to put into the car is going to be the name of the game tonight. You know, one stop. The guys that came in on lap 1, as mentioned, they got to do an absolutely mega stint on a set of tyres. 39, 38 odd laps on one stint of tyres is incredibly difficult in a supercar, especially around this track. This track is a tyre killer. So those guys, I mean, Todd Duggan, Paul Hayes and Mark Houghton, they are going to be in for a mega effort here tonight. We know they've got the pace to make their way through the field and really take advantage of what they've been handed. But they also need to have another safety car to guarantee getting home. Otherwise, they have to fuel save tremendously. Look at Griffiths here. He is right on the back end right now of Latham in P2. He is not letting him get away. He wants to get past Latham, get up the front and put the pressure on Hoffman in P1 right now. And he's just rolled out his swag and camping behind the rear wing of Latham, keeping the pressure on him, hoping that it's forcing Peter to look at the mirror more than he's looking at the track. That beautiful pearl white and maroon fishy car. We saw it a couple of weeks ago. It changed the livery up. We can see Monday's teammate just slowing down on the other side of the circuit, so something might have happened to him. Although I think he's actually just letting them all pass because he would have gotten blue flags. But Griffiths changed up the livery a couple of weeks ago because you couldn't really see the maroon colour on the black. So now he's followed in Jason Chin's footsteps and gone with the pearl white, which I think it looks absolutely tremendous. And you can see the Piranha a whole lot better on the rear quarter panel of that car too, with how it's currently painted. Anakin saying Dab was taking the last corner in 4th. He is. So instead of taking him 5th, oh, that looked like someone rubbed the wall then. Instead of taking him 5th, or I think it's 5th you might normally take it in. He's taking it in 4th. Actually, we look at a car a little bit further back to see exactly what gear they're taking it in. We're going to go Daniel Sheriff's. Go on the Logitech cockpit cam. He's going around there in 4th as well, so... okay, normally 3rd, alright. Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, he's currently doing it in 4th gear, saving a bit of fuel off the exit of the corner. He is maintaining his pace, though, and he's maintaining the gap in behind. Right, so the gap is still about 0.8 of a second, so he's not running away, but he's not getting eaten alive right now by the cars in behind. He's got a nice little healthy gap between him, which is good. It's what you want when you're leading a race because it takes the pressure off you. Latham is having to defend Griffiths in behind. That is also what is allowing Hoffman to just keep the gap up. You know, just keep the space between him and P2 alive right now. And that is what he will be appreciating. As we come round now to start out lap 16 of this race. So we are running through it quick and fast right now. 20 minutes in and we're already lap 16. So we're encroaching further and further on the halfway point of this race. And it is looking like a fast and furious one coming up. So we're getting closer and closer. So these guys will be wanting to come into the pits fairly shortly to be able to make their way to the end, because you are limited on fuel at the start of the race. So whatever their strategy is, whenever they're wanting to come in, that is what's really going to make or break their race in this one. All right, we'll see what happens with Marty Hansen on the start of 18. We might even hang with him here because there's a little bit of a battle pack for me just ahead with Atkins, Munro and Corbett. Peter Latham showing great pressure, Rob. Griffiths was keeping up massive pressure. Anakin Daly saying Jamie McKnight helped Dad with Watkins a few seasons ago. That's good. It's good that and I've mentioned this a heap of times. It's a good sense of community within the vets, and it's good that people are willing to help each other get better and better and improve themselves and get more and more used to the setups that they're being given by Jamie. So it's good that there are drivers out there, especially in split one, who want to help drivers in lower splits. So we're going to stick with these guys just for a couple of moments, just to give them some good little screen time. Atkins is now Gap Munro just in behind. And then Corbett and Hansen in behind him as well. So this currently is the battle for P22. And they are slowly and slowly making their way around towards lap 18 right now. Here's Hansen, Taipan Esports, currently P25 at the moment. Griffo getting into the chat as well, saying was a great part of the race, Peter. That's great to see. So, start of lap... Is it start of lap 18? Oh no, it's still lap 17 apparently. So, we've still got a bit to go before the leaders actually cross the line. Oh no, we are on lap 18 now. Oh, these guys have got the leader in behind them, that is why. So these guys have still got a lap, but we can see Hansen wants to put the pressure on Corbett. Corbett wants to put the pressure on Will. Just ahead of him here. Doesn't go for the lunge this time by. But is still putting the pressure on the Infinity Motorsports number 74 Mustang. Welcome into the chat, Johnny Sick. Great to have you in here tonight. We are closer and closer to halfway home in this race. You can see the great defensive driving here and attacking mindset from these three drivers. They are still racing like it's for P1. They don't want to give it up at all. Coming round turn one. You can see how close Hansen is with Corbett. Oh, that's a big stack there from Atkins. And that was incredibly close to Corbett and his teammate Hansen. Absolutely massive. Atkins still rolling. Gets the rears lit up. He's waiting for the whole field basically to come past him until he pulls out. Good mindset there. We'll head back up now to the leaders, as Darren Goosey has now actually gotten the pass done on Robbie Griffiths. So Hoffman continues to lead the way against Latham. And then Goosey now in P3 with Griffiths dropping back to where he started the race in P4. He's not out of this yet though. He's able to hang with these guys. He is the championship leader. If he could, we would put an orange number on the window of his car to represent that. But we come round now to start lap 20, and we are now halfway home to the end of this race. And it's come incredibly quickly. 24 or about 25 minutes already been run in this almost sprint race type of event here for round 9. As mentioned, round 10 coming up this week. VIR, massive night of racing on Thursday, and then the broadcast off the replay file on Sunday night for Split 2, Friday night for Split 3. The Driver's Kitchen all here live on V8 Veterans YouTube channel and Facebook page. Be sure, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and hit the bell on the YouTube so you're notified anytime we go racing for the 10 weeks out of the 13-week season. As mentioned, Friday nights is the Split 3 action, 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Sunday nights is the Split 2 Spectacular from 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. I know tonight we are on a Monday night, but the regular broadcast time is on Sundays. So we come on to lap 21. Peter Latham has jumped into the pits. Ed Cullen is in. So is Jeremy Bush for Locked On Racing as well. Simon Farrington into the pits now. So more and more people taking their scheduled stop at the halfway point of this race. We saw a lot of drivers jump in early between lap 1 and lap 10. And now more and more hopping in at this stage. We know Hoffman has done some fuel saving, so he can go that little bit further if he wants to, or he could have a shorter fill to get to the end of this race. Jason Chin, no, they're not. It's lying to me again, apparently. Oh, that's saying to me that Chin and Hayes and Duggan are in the pits, but they're not, apparently. No, they're not. They're loading in and out of the session replay, so that's an internet thing, not a pit stop or SDK thing. So as Goosey comes in, so Hoffman and Griffiths stay out one lap longer. It's going to be interesting to see if Goosey or Latham can actually undercut Hoffman here off of their pit stops. So many challenges at play. It's a juggling act to get it all right. When it does go right, it's absolutely spectacular, but it can also go oh so wrong in the process. You see Griffiths still about 1.7 seconds back from the leader right now. Closest battle on track is O'Loughlin and Latham. O'Loughlin, who was forced to pit on lap 1, could make it to the end if he gets a safety car. It is a little bit in doubt, though, whether he can. Hoffman is into the pits, as well as Munro. So Munro forced to come in. I think he might be getting a drive-through right now, as McMillan comes in as well. So we'll see if Munro actually does a stop, or if he just traverses through. It appears that he is just traversing through the lane. So he just got a drive through. I believe he had contact with Reg James on lap 2. We missed it on the cast. But he was forced to just make his way around then. He'll pop out alongside, I believe that is Damien Cross. No, it's not Damien Cross. Who was it that he's popped out with? Oh, I think it might be Mark Dial. So he's got Jason Chin, Scott Weston in behind. Oh no, it's Scott Weston. That's why I'm getting confused, because Scott doesn't have his regular livery on the car. It's just like absolutely mind-boggling now that he's actually changed it. So, so he's come out alongside Scott Weston. This is for position. He's got Chin, Hayes, and Duggan in behind. Those guys are lapping him. He is the lap traffic for them, as well as Scott. So these guys currently battling for position. They have got Simon Farrington a little bit further behind them, as well as Todd Martin. So see how that might play out. Robbie Griffiths still leads the way, as James Boardman and Jason Chin have come into the pits. So those guys are now in. Andrew Hoffman is back into the pits. what has happened here. Why has he had to come in again? We already saw him come in once before. Is this a drive-through, or does he have damage? It's an actual pit stop, so I don't know, something's happened here. Maybe he underfilled the car, maybe he's got some damage on it. A pit exit penalty, so a stop-go for Andrew Hoffman. Well. That is unbelievably unlucky for him. So Robbie Griffiths now leads the way in this race, although he is yet to pit, as well as Buckland and Cross. Bush and Sheriffs also need to come in. Everyone else has made a scheduled pit stop. But the question mark on the side of names right now is Hayes, Duggan, and O'Loughlin. Those guys pit on lap 1. And it's whether they can make it to the end on the fuel they've been given, and if they can keep the car nice and straight on the tyres that they're having to run for pretty much the whole length of this race. But these questions will be answered as we make our way through. Peter Latham saying, came out into traffic, undercut, didn't quite work tonight. And it's one of those things, it's a risk-reward type situation. Romano saying, so easy to do at this track and VIR. You just, you know, you can get the undercut done if you get into some clean air, but if you come out alongside some traffic, then, as James Boardman's on the side of the track, sorry I just missed that, but Boardman is on the side of the track, missing his whole front end and bonnet. I think he might have actually blown an engine. Yes, Anakin, that is a moment that we will be looking out for, but just quickly here, James Boardman has pulled up onto the side of the track, I believe with a blown engine. So he would have called for a tow. It's whether Greg Favela is going to come out here and control the field. This has thrown a spanner in the works. Not only does this help Griffiths, Buckland and Cross, it also helps Hayes, Duggan and O'Loughlin for their fuel saving. So Boardman has towed, and the safety car is coming out on track. So the top 3 jump in. Griffiths, Buckland and Cross all jump into the pits. They will take their scheduled stop. I believe Boardman has massive bad luck. He has great pace, but just suffers from some bad luck sometimes. So Hayes and Duggan will take the top 2 spots of this race. Hayes and Duggan to the top. Griffiths will come out of the pits into P3. So the championship leader remains on the podium right now, and he's actually jumped Peter Latham. So he's been able to overcut Latham here through the pit stop period. So this is the situation at hand. Hayes and Duggan pit out. They pit on lap 1. They needed this safety car to guarantee being able to get to the end on their fuel. So they'll be on ultra fuel saving mode right now. Griffiths and Latham, they're good to the end. They've got enough fuel, they can make it. O'Loughlin is in the same boat as Hayes and Duggan right now. Ultra fuel save mode for the Frog Leap Juice racing car. So Munro and Weston will get their wave arounds around the Parramatta Izuzu Ute safety car. We will then have a couple of laps under safety car, and then we will be going racing once again. I assume all the way to the end, because once we get within that 5-lap buffer between the checkered flag and 5 laps before then, we don't have another safety car. So unless we get one between the time of this safety car going in and lap 34, we won't see a third one tonight. So a nice little reset, a nice little stretch, wave the arms about, twiddle your fingers, you know, brush your hair, whatever it is, have a nice little stretch, because we are only 12 odd laps away from the end of this race. The current lay of the land: Hayes leads Duggan, leads Griffiths. That is the current podium. That is the current top three. Latham, O'Loughlin, Buckland, Goosey, McKee, Cross, and M. McMillan make up the top 10. So it's now anyone's game. The field is bunched right up, close together, about as close as you can get. Put a hand in front of your face. They're even closer than that. So we are here to go racing to the very end. We'll wait for the safety car to come in. The narrative should be over now that Hayes and Duggan could run out. They should be able to make it to the end from this point. So, but it's whether they've saved enough between safety cars to do it. So, and how good their tyres are. Whether their tyres can last as well. So, we await the restarting point of this race. Quite a couple of drivers will get waiver rounds to unlap themselves, and then we'll be ready to go racing once again. So, if there's any questions anyone has to ask while we get our waiver rounds and while the safety car traverses the circuit, please be sure to send them into the chat. I'll be happy to answer them, and I'll be happy to talk about them while we await. But yeah, this is the current scenario that we are in right now. So, Hayes and Duggan, can they make it? Can they do it? Pit on lap 1, I assume didn't take tyres. 39 laps on a set of tyres. I know, Braden O'Loughlin, 23 positions gained in this race after being forced to pit on lap 1 due to getting caught up with Mark Dial, and I believe it was Marty Hansen's incident on lap 1, turn 1. Marty Atkins saying this safety car was a saviour. And this could be a real saviour moment for Hayes and Duggan. I mean, their race could have been done and dusted if they didn't get this safety car, because they'd need to go and get a splash and dash. But now they're back in the game. Don't count out Robbie Griffiths. He's got plenty of pace about him, and he's still within the hunt. He's in the hot seat right now, P3. He's behind two teammates who will work together to try and keep him behind. But he's got enough pace and enough racecraft and enough acumen to get through. Latham, bit of a dark horse, P4, started in P2, has shown great pace over the practice and qualifying sessions here at Watkins Glen. So, it's anybody's game. Braden O'Loughlin, he's even a bit of a smoky, up into P5, as mentioned, 23 positions gained in this race. But it's who can take advantage now. Marty Atkins saying he was 2 laps down. Well then, that is very nice, isn't it, Marty? You get your little wave around and you're back in the hunt. So, we await now. I'm going to assume the safety car will come in on this lap. And we will be getting ready to go racing once again. Here, all the way to the end, out of Watkins Glen for the Kumho Tyres V8 Veterans. Little bit of housekeeping just for a moment here, ladies and gentlemen. A massive thank you goes out to all of our series sponsors here at V8 Veterans. Kumho Tyres, Logitech, Player One Sim Gear, Parramatta Izuzu Ute, and Nova Simsports. Thank you all for supporting the V8 Veterans and helping us, well, not only broadcast, but also run a race series like this. I mean, it's live race control, live safety car, broadcasts every week, and a heap of drivers who love to get out there and go and have some fun. If you want to get involved in the Veterans, we're only 1 round left in Season 15, but then there will be sign-ups for Season 14 and pre-qualifying, or Season 16, I should say, and pre-qualifying as well, all to come over the next month or so until we are ready to go racing once again for Season 16. So there's plenty of time to get signed up, get involved. And again, saying if only I was 40. Get involved and come and have a great time with these middle to old aged, I don't want to say Avengers, but gladiators in a supercar. I mean, it seems like so much fun. These drivers have a great time. There's a great amount of banter, but also respect in the Discord as well. So be sure to try and get involved. I'm sure we'll be able to get some information out there on how you can. I mean, visit our Facebook page at the V8 Veterans, and you will be able to... Matt Parker saying stay young and you'll end up like Gary Buckland. And you'll be able to get involved as well. So 3 splits of drivers, split 1, split 2, split 3. There's plenty of opportunities open for people to come in and have a crack. And the more people that get involved, the better, because it's going to lead to some absolutely phenomenal racing. So the safety car pulls away. Paul Hayes will lead them by. He will control the field here at Watkins Glen. And it's when he decides to start. So the safety car is in. We've got 10 laps of racing left to go. They will come by and cross the line to start lap 30. Who can take advantage? Who can muster up the strength? And who has the guts to get all the glory here at Watkins Glen? Hayes does not go at the same point that Hoffman did. He'll be telling Duggan when he's going to be going. He's almost telling Duggan maybe to back him up. He goes right to the line, and we are go once again. Lap 30 of 39 at Watkins Glen. Only a breath away from the checkered flag flying now. They look nice and tidy up through the first 2 corners. Can they hold it together here? Out onto the back straight. Look at this. Tight battle right now coming into the bus stop. There's 4 of them. There's been contact with Farrington and Munro. And Hoffman and Weston have gone in behind. You can see him there. The race just gets worse and worse for the Hoff. Both of them appear to be rolling. Welcome into the chat, Stephen Murray. Great to have you here. Both of them are rolling, so I don't believe we'll be getting a safety car, although Scott Weston has jumped to the pits, I believe. He might have done that without requesting, so he might be getting a disqualification coming his way. Oh, that was Braden O'Loughlin catching the grass, and he's gone wide here at turn 1. The race has gone off. 9 laps to go. And O'Loughlin has lost his massive advantage that he had and is now back down into 10th place. We go back up to the front, couple of drivers as they make their way down the long straight. Look at the run that Griffiths has got on the Nova cars just ahead. Anakin Daly saying, why would you even try 3 wide into the bus stop? It is a questionable move for sure, Anakin. But it is now left into the hands of Bruce McLeod, our race control, for split 2. Look at the swarm of drivers in behind the top 3. Hayes, Duggan and Griffiths. They've been the talk of the whole season. They come round, they start lap 32. And they come through turn 1. Look at the defensive driving from Duggan on Griffiths here. Griffiths wants to solidify this championship victory before we even make it to the final round. It's not likely that he's going to be able to do it, but he just wants to make it a little bit easier for himself before VIR. Wants to get himself set up and operating in a better position. Look at them run down the back straight through the bus stop. Bruce McLeod saying that Bruce guy pretty dodgy, I reckon. I tell you what, I mean, we're not going to speculate whose fault it was in the incident at the bus stop, but I reckon they forgot their Mikey that day and were getting kicked off by the driver. Parker saying go Nova once again. They're controlling the field right now. They are the top 2. We haven't seen this happen in quite a few races, actually. I don't even think since the start of the season have we seen this. Paul, of course, has missed quite a few rounds, and Todd has either been up the front on his own or he's been forced back through the field through shenanigans. So lap 33. Etching closer and closer to the end. Look at Griffiths putting the pressure on Duggan just ahead of him. He does not want to give this up. Down the straight, through the bus stop chicane. And you can see the bunny hop action that is coming off of that. Nova, I mean, there's only a couple of cars in that team, especially in Split 2, but they are just full of quality operators in a supercar. Look at Griffiths trying to put the pressure on. There's a knock and they're into the wall. Unbelievable. Race-changing moment there. There was contact between the drivers. This has now dropped Duggan down into P6. Robbie Griffiths now up into P2. Bruce McLeod saying Todd has been on fire this season. He just needs more consistency at the pointy end. Could not agree with you more on that one there, Bruce. It just seems that you get closer and closer to the end and then somehow Todd either makes a mistake or someone else makes a mistake with Todd around them. And it just leads to him dropping back down the order. He's a little bit like always the bridesmaid, never the bride. I mean, he's got such good pace about him. We saw him win 2 races last season. He's only won 1 race this season. So, lap 34 of 39. No more safety cars in this race. Hayes leads Griffiths, leads Latham. That is the top 3 right now. That is the podium. Bruce, I agree with you once again. His time will come. Eventually, he will get just so much more racecraft about him and he'll be out of people's way or out of people's hair that he will just keep himself from getting flustered and he'll be at the pointy end and he'll be able to take advantage of things happening around him. So I think, you know, if it's not season 16, I think definitely season 17, he may be a complete and real challenger for the Split 2 championship, unless he makes it into Split 1 before then through pre-qualifying, because he's an incredibly quick and talented operator in a supercar. Anakin Daly, it'd be like Moffat and Brock, Todd and Hoff. I think currently the biggest rivalry this season was probably Griffiths and I think maybe Griffiths and Duggan. They seem to have been around each other a lot this season. I mean, Hazy really hasn't been here for every single race to really be a factor in that. I mean, there's rivalries throughout the field. I think last season one of the biggest rivalries was Munro and Sipple. Those guys just seem to come together a lot when Sipple was in Split 2 still. But I mean, like, Grumley was looking to be a real challenger this season, has missed a lot of the races. He won. He was dominant. He was ultra dominant in the first half of the season. He won 3 races in the first half of this season and was on for a championship. And then now he's missed quite a few rounds. So now it's led to Griffiths really getting up there and being in contention. Oh, okay. Anakin saying yes, but Hoff has had some terrible bad luck when Todd and Hoff have been close. Yeah, I could see that. I think... I don't know what other big rivalries there might be. Bruce McLeod saying, me and my lack of talent, the biggest rivalry of all. Oh, it's fantastic. That's a good one. I think Cam's biggest rivalry is him and driving the safety car, but keeping it off the wall. That's a big rivalry for sure. Nice little jab there. Cam. We love you, Cam. You do so well. So, lap 36 coming on to 37. Only a couple of laps to go in this one. Paul Hayes leads the way to Robbie Griffiths, Peter Latham, Darren Goosey, Matt McMillan, Damien Cross, Todd Duggan, Gary Buckland, Richard Barella, and Braden O'Loughlin. The biggest mover of this race so far is Braden O'Loughlin, up 18 positions in this race. He's done so well to this point. It's whether the fuel can last in the Commodore. Hazy's just been a dominant factor all day. Matt Parker saying, was there no race control call on Griffiths hitting Duggan? It was called no further action because Duggan, I believe, Bruce could comment on it in the chat, but I believe what was called was Duggan had turned in on Griffiths and putting them both into the wall. And then that's what led to no decision being made because Duggan lost out and Griffiths had kept going. So, but I think Bruce is probably the better one who can comment on that because he did it. Oh, it was a post-race call, so there you go. That's a much clearer overview. I thought I'd seen something about what I said, but Bruce is the one who can give the most information since he is race control for Split 2. So we come on, 2 laps to go, lap 38 of 39. Paul Hayes leads the way to Robbie Griffiths and Latham, and he is only 7 odd kilometres away from being a race winner once again in Split 2 of Vets. We go on board now to the roll bar cam. Yeah, it was no further action. I thought so. So this is the gap that the Nova Simsports 111 Mustang has over the Fishy Motorsports Commodore in behind of Robbie Griffiths. Let's look at the wheel work here from Hayes through the final couple of corners. Nice and smooth through the left. Nice and smooth through the right. Looking nice and tidy. We've got 1 lap to go as they cross the line. White flag lap. 39 of 39 now. Hazy is 1 lap away from being the victor once again in Kumho Tyres V8 Veterans Split 2 here in Season 15. It's round 9. There's 1 round to go in this championship. Robbie Griffiths has made an even stronger charge at the championship if he's able to finish in P2 today. Richard Barella saying a bit of racing room from Todd would have seen them both side by side into the next corner. Again, it was one for the stewards to call. They gave their verdict on it. But regardless, 1 corner left. And Paul Hayes makes his way round to become yet another victor here in V8 Veterans. He takes 1 more victory before the final round of the season here tonight at Watkins Glen. Robbie Griffiths finishes out in P2. Peter Latham will make up the bottom of the podium in P3 with Goosey, Matt McMillan, Cross, Duggan, Buckland, Barella and Hansen making up the top 10 in this one. And what a race it was. Short, sharp and fast was tonight's 150-kilometre sprint race here at the Watkins Glen Club Circuit. Can the fuel last? It did. Apart from Braden O'Loughlin, he did run out of fuel in the end and had to pit once again. So we are now awaiting the drivers to come in. We'll see if any of them join into the green room to have a chat. We already have Peter Latham and Robert Griffiths in there, so we will have a chat to them. But we'll bring up the race results first. Here it is. Paul Hayes takes victory ahead of Robbie Griffiths and Peter Latham here today for round 9 at Watkins Glen. Darren Goosey will finish out of P4 ahead of Matt McMillan in P5. Damien Cross in P6 with Todd Duggan in P7 today. Gary Buckland will finish in P8 just ahead of Richard Barella in P9 with Marty Hansen making up the top 10. Glenn Corbett having an absolutely incredible race tonight, finishing out of P11 just ahead of Jeremy Bush in P12, with Matt Monday finishing out of P13. Marty Atkins will finish tonight's race in P14 just ahead of Brett Teller, making up the top 15 there in P15. Daniel Sheriffs will finish tonight's race out of P16 just ahead of Lon McKee in 17th. Ed Cullen will finish in P18 tonight for Shadow Racing. That's a good outing for him. Oh, and I've just hidden it by accident. Will Munro will finish tonight's race out of 19th for Infinity Motorsport, just ahead of Mark Peck there and Todd Martin in 20th and 21st. Jason Chin will finish out of P22 ahead of Andrew Hoffman in P23. Shannon McMillan will finish tonight's race in P24 just ahead of Braden O'Loughlin in P25. Simon Farrington finishes in P26 just ahead of Mark Houghton. And then in P28, of course, it was James Boardman, unfortunately unable to finish due to the engine troubles. Mark Dial, Reg James, Scott Weston, and then Craig Healy did not start tonight's race. So we will now bring in our podium finishers. We have all three of them. Absolutely fantastic. Paul Hayes, how you going, Paul? Massive congratulations to all three of you boys. Great to have you all in here and having a chat. I just want to start with Paul here. Now, Paul, you've missed a couple of rounds this season, but you come back and have an absolutely dominating performance like that. Both you and Todd come in on lap 1 when the safety car was called. Were you kind of having a bit of a hope and a prayer that you're going to get the second one to really guarantee making it home?
No, I was trying to get the win for Todd. So on practice, we worked out our fuel strategy, and we did a few laps with Todd behind me getting a slipstream. We worked out that if there was going to be a safety car on lap 1, which there's a strong possibility on that track, that if he followed me, he would have enough fuel to finish, and if I had to do a splash and dash, he would make it and win the race. And he still had 4 or 5 laps worth of fuel left in his car, so it worked for that, but he just had his little, situation with Robbie that pushed him out. And so I just pushed on, and I ran out of fuel. I finished with 0.1 of a litre in my fuel tank.
Wow. Incredibly close and incredibly nail-biting. I mean, I suppose it's a good little strategy play there because you're out of the hunt for the championship at this stage, being that you have missed a couple of rounds. So I guess it's good strategy that you were able to work with him. I mean, you both have got a similar pace, so hats off to you both then for having that strategy. Just unfortunate it couldn't work out for you.
Probably the most fun race of the season because obviously going to the back of the field and just having so much fun passing, and by the end of the season, everyone's skill's pretty high. So it was good fun passing cars and knowing you're not going to get taken out by someone because everyone's pretty switched on. So it was super good fun, and we were just lucky to get that last safety car, and that's why I just stayed on the 80 kilometres an hour all the way to the start-finish line to restart under safety car, just to save that little bit of extra fuel. And after the safety car, I was just working to a fuel number, and the last 5 laps I knew I'd make it, so I just went hammer and tong. So it was good fun.
Very good, mate. Well, congratulations on your victory today. Robbie Griffiths, we've spoken many a times over many a race series this past couple of months. You are in the hot seat right now to win the Split 2 Championship. It's all going to come down to how well you can do next time out at VAR, but you've had a pretty fantastic race out at Watkins this past week, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a great track. I love it. I actually enjoy the boot version as opposed to this, but this was good fun. It was an interesting one, that start. Unfortunately, I think more people would have taken that pit stop that Paul and Todd did, but the race controller's audio didn't come across to the entire field. So I had actually gone past pit entry when we finally got confirmation that was actually a yellow flag and the safety car was coming out. So some people didn't hear it. Probably would have been more people come in. I definitely probably would have come in. So it was still a 50-50 gamble that there was going to be another safety car. So good on the boys for gambling on it. It's always a 50-50 call when that happens. And turns out luck came their way. Just a little bit unfortunate there at the end. To get involved with Todd, unfortunately hitting the wall took all the speed out. I had the tyres obviously over Paul, and those guys have been driving the whole race on that set of tyres. So my tyres were real good. It was really easy to keep up and out of a couple of corners there. But unfortunately, after hitting the wall, it was I lost all the top end. So all I could do was sort of follow Paul. But I was pretty happy with second anyway, so it was all good.
I mean, it's a good batch of points, mate, in your championship tally. I mean, I think even with the drop rounds counted, you're still leading the championship. So you're in the hot seat right now. It's all going to come down to VAR and how well you can do there. Are you feeling comfortable already leading into this round, or are you hoping that the practice sessions over the next couple of days is going to help you just really solidify how well you feel at that track?
I'll certainly need practice, mate. I think I've only run one race there. It's a pretty tough track and tough track to pass on too. So he who qualifies up the front may prosper that race. So I'll see how I go. But yeah, it could be interesting. I'm not sure where we are with points, but she's pretty close at the top no matter what. And Pete's right around me as well and finished P3 today. So it was be interesting. We'll see what happens next week, I guess.
Oh, well, I mean, you mentioned his name, but congratulations to you on your P2 today, Griffo. But big congratulations going out to Peter Latham there, P3 in tonight's race, and yeah, you're within the hunt right now to get a top 3 finish in the championship. So you've had a very strong season and a nice and tidy race tonight. I hope Peter's there. I know he joined up, but I hope he's able to talk to us. But just quickly, I'll go back to Paul just quickly. So how was your tyres actually, Paul? Because did you actually take tyres on that lap 1 stop, or did you just stay on the same set?
You always take tyres because we had to take 30 litres of fuel.
Okay.
Well, it was 23 litres of fuel we took.
Yeah.
So your tyres take less time than the fuel, so you always take the tyres.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But the tyres they were fine. We were still running, high 8s, low 9s at the end of the race, so there was no problems with speed. It was more the fuel saving.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, you all had a very, very strong run, regardless. I don't know if Peter will be able to chat to us, but we might. I might just move it along just a little bit quickly then, just in case he isn't able to talk to me or not. But Griffo, if there's anyone that just let us know, mate, who's supporting you and who's supporting Fishy out there, mate, and just give us a little run through. And then we'll double check with Peter before I end it tonight. Yeah,
just thank the Fishy Motorsports Group and their sponsors, West End Motor Group. As usual, there's a whole host of them with Peugeot, Haval, Mazda and Isuzu as well. DC Shades and Infinity Designs, Precision Sim Training, Relaxed Marine and Game Fishing, Adrenaline Images and a Battery Warehouse at Early Beach. Thank you, as usual, for doing the broadcast and the sponsors for the series, as well as Jamie McKnight, who puts in all the effort with the car setups.
Very good, mate. Well, Abbas, congratulations to you on your P2. And Paul Hayes, big congratulations to you on your win. I mean, you weren't really expecting to be able to take the win because you were going to give it to Toddy there at the end, but he dropped off. But a big congratulations to you regardless, mate. Let us know who's giving you guys support out there and anyone you want to give a shout out to as well. Yeah,
thanks to the boys at Nova Simsport, and for Jamie doing the setups and the sponsors for the series. And to you too, Hamish, for doing the broadcast. Thanks, mate.
No worries at all, mate. I'll quickly just go back to Peter to see if he is actually able to talk or not right now. Otherwise, I will have to call it, unfortunately. But Peter, if you are there, please let us know. Otherwise, I will have to call it, unfortunately. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to call it, unfortunately. But congratulations to you, Peter, if you can hear me on your P3. Big result for you and for Shadow Racing, and good luck to everyone for the final round, especially to Peter and Rob, since you guys are in the hunt for the championship right now and for an opportunity to get into Split 1 next season. I look forward to watching the final race come this weekend.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Appreciate it, boys. Thank you.
See ya.
Well, unfortunately, we couldn't speak to Peter there in the green room. Unfortunately, he must have been having some mic troubles. Maybe just quickly, we have got a heap of people in the chat talking about VIR and a heap of conversations happening right now. But it was a massive night of racing here tonight for Watkins Glen. A massive final round coming up this coming weekend. VIR, Thursday night is the race, Sunday night is the broadcast, and it's all going to happen right here on V8 Veterans. Kumho Tyres brings you the V8 Veterans. Season 15 is coming to an end with round 10 next time out. A big thank you to all of our sponsors in Kumho Tyres, Logitech, Play One Sim Gear, Parramatta Izuzu, and I'm just looking at the chat, and Nova Simsports as well. Thank you all for supporting us. Thank you all for watching round 9 here tonight at Watkins Glen. I look forward to your time next time out at VIR. I hope you've enjoyed Season 15 so far. I'm incredibly excited for the grand finale. But until then, I've been Hamish Munro. This has been the VA Veterans Season 15, Split 2, Round 9 at Watkins Glen. We'll see you at VIR for Round 10 next time. Bye.